Are Magic the Gathering players funny? Well, this is a question that we started to try and answer this previous week, but you know, maybe that was kind of a dud week. Last week, laughed at a couple, but a lot of them were kind of mid, so let's see if this week's a little bit better. First up, how my last game of Commander went. It was 3-on-1, but they were mentally challenged people against one person of extraordinary genius. It wasn't even close. I have a sneaking suspicion that due to recent events, we might see a couple of these today. That was pretty good. That's all right. Next up. Damn. ChatGPT roast Magic. I'll get through it. Roast Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering? Oh, you mean the game where people throw down pieces of cardboard and act like they're strategizing in a life or death war? It's basically a socially acceptable way for adults to say, I spent $1,000 on tiny pictures of dragons and wizards because I can't buy a real house. The ChatGPT memes are a couple years old at this point, and this is 2024. Real feast and famine the first and second one are, huh? All right, next up. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a basic land mountain. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a basic mountain. To fetch a crummy basic, they should have been fetching Volcanic Island, Underground Sea, Tropical Island, or Tundra. I love Drago. It's the I love Drago shirt that really ties it all together. All right, that one's pretty good. Okay, so far, this has been like, not like burst out laughing, but they have been pretty amusing. So far, so good. Maybe Magic players can be funny. You will be missed, gone too soon, bird pilled. Oh my. I hope it's fake, but I don't think it is. Rip in peace, Nadu. All right, next up. 30th edition has been filed correctly, boss. Water Elemental, $150 under joke set. It feels like Magic the Circle jerking posters are in like a 5-month haze of brain fog before they can finally find the post button on Reddit. So many people playing this card today. Think it will spike? Agony of defeat, 0. Instant, split second. Until end of turn, if you would lose the game, instead reveal your hand and the top 4 cards to your library. You may explain to your opponent or opponents how you could have won. You still lose the game. So close. Now, if you had never seen this before, this would be pretty funny. But unfortunately, I have seen this like 8 times over the last 5 years. And it is still being reposted to the subreddit and is still making the rounds to the brain foggers to this day. All right, next up. Proper Magic, 3 and a white sorcery. Exile the 2 opponents with the lowest life totals. They lose the game. You and the remaining player each shuffle your hand, graveyard, battlefield, and command zone into your library and draw 7 cards. There is no command zone for the rest of the game. If either remaining player has greater than 25 or less than 15 life, set their life total to 20. You may play this spell only when you have 3 opponents. Finally, Magic as Richard Garfield intended. I don't know if I can show this one. Are Lurking Evil alt arts too subtle? So it's Meat Hook Massacre 2, but hanging on the hook are some meatballs in a massacre. Yeah, I don't think I can show that without blurring that. Next up. Nadu got banned because people couldn't learn to use this. Hirobi, Death's Whale. Whenever a creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, destroy that card. Really been pulling out like the random Kamigawa cards the last couple of weeks, huh? Oh, Nadu's a turn 3 combo? Well, this 4-mana legend should be able to handle it. This one's just the Magic the Gathering TV show official discussion thread, because if you didn't know, it got canceled. I thought they'd announced the cancellation already. The real villain of Duskmourn. 8 fucking Manifest Dread, 7 green sorcery. Manifest Dread 8 times. If your opponent doesn't know what that means, Manifest Dread 8 more times. Holy shit, rip Spawn Hunter. That format, that's one of those formats that no matter how old it gets, I still do like this format. I can't help it. All right, next up. The next one is just Manifest Dread. See, this is terrible. Like, I get it. The card's called Manifest Dread, and it says Manifest Dread on the effect. Like, yeah, I get it. It was funny for about 5 minutes when the card came out. The 8 Manifest Dread one, far better, way funnier. Even if it didn't follow up 8 Manifest Dread though, this is super low effort. This is on par with, I can't believe custom Magic has gone so far. Like, it's whatever. Next up had to, oh my, Manifest Dreadmaw for double green sorcery. It's too late. What does Pot of Greed do? Alright, next up. This makes me just want to goldfish my 4 Horsemen deck. Magic the Gathering Arena. Babe, it's 4 p.m. Time for your 9.24 gigabyte download. Yes, honey. New set release. Cause a lot of data. Big data packet cassette coming out. Cards take up hard drive space. That's the joke. It's just, the joke is just the online constantly updating game has decently sized updates. Like, there's no joke. Oh my god. All right, next up. Ah, yeah, mono black, my favorite color for enchantment removal. An instant speed enchantment removal in mono black? I've never seen such a thing. I must inquire about this further with my supervisor post haste. I guess we do an enchantment removal now. This isn't, okay. So this isn't even the oldest example that I'm about to bring up. But off the top of my head, Feed the Swarm exists. People are complaining at Feed the Swarm. It's not even the oldest example of black being able to get rid of enchantments. Just like, oh my god. The boomers really came out of the woodworks for this one. Some people still think the color pie is real. All right, next up. My LGS pod in a nutshell. Your decks are too strong. It's a precon. What do you want me to say about this meme? That's not good? We're just gonna move on, if that's all right with you. What does it mean it might cost 6 less? Is it like, oh, I feel like costing 6 less today? Don't know. Why is Avatar of such an undecisive card? Avatar of Might. 6, oh, double green Avatar. If an opponent controls at least 4 more creatures than you, Avatar of might cost 6 less to play with trample. Why is Avatar of such an indecisive card? It's like the stupid Mistcutter Hydra says they can't be countered, but like, it's clever, it is fun. Avatar of Might. I'm sorry, if this has already been posted before, it's the worst thing ever. But if this is original, really funny. Next up. Does this go infinite? Horseshoe Crab. Cryptolith Right. No. Product Glut is out of control. A second Duskborn set already? Mark Rosewater. Man Hackman asked, now that Duskborn previews are over, when can we return to Duskborn? Good news, there's a set coming out real soon that takes place on Duskborn. That's crazy. So if Duskborn's so good, why isn't there a Duskborn 2? Fear of Exposure, alternate art and lurking evil versions. Oh, and it's the guy. All right, next up. Ooh, it's another Manifest Dread meme. We haven't seen 2 of those already. It's in theme with Duskborn because we've seen the 3rd fucking Manifest Dread meme this week, and they just keep getting worse. Manifest Dread 2. Manifest Dread, 1 and a green. Sorcery. Manifest Dread. Dread is manifesting, Tyvar or something. Okay, see, the quote, the flavor text quote is the funniest part. The Tyvar is something. That's funny. The rest of this is, it's the worst of the 3 we've seen so far. Like, come on, man. It's a toss-up. I don't know if like just actually posting Manifest Dread is worse than this edit. Next up, concept of a proxy, Magus of the Bazaar. Concept of a plan, 1 and a blue. 0/1 legendary creature, human criminal, tap, draw 2, then discard 3. Possibly it's one of the reasons. Certainly it's one of the very big reasons, trade and things related to trade, that I got elected in the first place. I've been talking about it for a long time, along with many other subjects, frankly. Looks around the room nervously. The concept of a plan is a pretty funny soundbite from it. I just think this is a very mid use of it, I'd say. Feel like there's much funnier things you could do with this, but that's all right. Next up. When someone says something so Azorius phobic, you have to give them the Teferi stare. POV, you're about to have the least fun 25 minutes of your life. I kind of just need an edit of Teferi's face with just the white impact text saying that. I need that like right now. I'm gonna get on that in the editing room, popping it up right now. All right, so that concludes this week's meme review. So compared to last week, this week, Definitely a lot funnier, a lot more clever memes this week. There were still some duds. I did laugh like legitimately at like the cleverness of the meme a couple more times, which is really great. Maybe the subreddit's healing, maybe they're improving. I would love to see that. Be sure to tune in next week as we review the top weekly memes next week as well to finally answer the question, are Magic the Gathering players funny? Thank you all for tuning in today and have a great rest of your day.